You start your morning with oatmeal because it is healthy, it is comforting, and it feels good for your heart. But what if I told you that for many seniors, that simple breakfast might be quietly draining strength from the very legs and arms you rely on to stay independent? Adding certain fruits to that oatmeal, a habit you may have had for years, could actually be making your muscles weaker over time. I'm Dr. William Lee, and I have seen this happen to so many of my patients. They are trying to do the right thing. They eat oatmeal for breakfast. They top it with fruit, and they believe they are fueling their body for the day ahead. But the wrong fruit combination in that first meal can lead to energy crashes, the slower recovery after activity, and even faster muscle loss as we age. In today's video, I am going to share, importantly, I will show you better choices that keep your breakfast delicious while helping your muscles stay strong, steady, and ready. The 4 fruits you should stop mixing into your oatmeal. If you are over 60 and want to protect your muscle strength,
Anything.
if you start your day with oatmeal, this might be one of the most important changes you make for your health this year. The first fruit I want to discuss with you is citrus fruits, particularly oranges and grapefruits. When mixed directly into your oatmeal, the vitamin C and other beneficial nutrients. However, when you combine the high acidity of citrus fruits with oatmeal, something interesting immediately alongside it. Now, I know this might surprise you because citrus fruits are wonderfully healthy on their own, packed with happens in your digestive system. The acid from the citrus can interfere with the enzymes your body uses to break down the starches. This interference can lead to incomplete digestion, which means you're not getting the full nutritional benefit from either the oatmeal, oats, the fruit. Let me explain this in more detail. Your digestive system relies on specific enzymes called amases to break down the complex carbohydrates in oats into simpler sugars that your body can use for energy. These enzymes work best in a slightly alkaline environment. Acids, the building blocks of protein that your muscles desperately need. When protein absorption is delayed or reduced, when you introduce highly acidic citrus fruits at the same time, you're essentially changing the pH of your digestive environment in a way that can slow down or impair these enzymes. More importantly, for muscle health, this combination can slow down the absorption of amino. Delivery truck gets stuck in traffic. The materials are good, but they're not arriving when and where they're needed most. There's another, don't get the signal to start their rebuilding process as effectively. It's like trying to deliver construction materials to a building site, but the aspect to consider as well, bind to proteins and minerals in your digestive system, making them less available for absorption. When you're trying to maximize protein, citrus fruits are high in compounds called flavonoids, which are generally beneficial antioxidants. However, some of these compounds can utilization for muscle health. This binding effect can work against your goals. I've seen this pattern repeatedly in my practice. Patients would come to me saying they felt bloated or uncomfortable after their healthy breakfast of oatmeal with orange slices and combinations. I often experienced an energy crash a few hours later. Many described feeling like their stomach was fighting against itself after these, feeling more energetic and experiencing better digestion. The key insight here is that both oatmeal and citrus fruits can be part of. When we adjusted the timing of when they ate their citrus fruits, moving them to at least an hour after their oatmeal, many reported healthy diet, but the timing of when you eat them together can make all the difference. Let me share a story about Margaret, a 72 patient of mine. She had been religiously eating oatmeal with fresh orange segments every morning for years, believing she was doing everything right for her health. Felt uncomfortably full after breakfast, but then hungry again within a couple of hours. When we discovered this citrus oatmeal, however, she came to me concerned about feeling weaker and more tired than she thought she should. She also mentioned that combination was potentially interfering with her protein utilization. We made a simple change. She started having her orange as a mid-morning snack instead. Within 3 weeks, she reported feeling noticeably more energetic and stronger during her daily walks. surprised her most was that her digestion improved dramatically. No more bloating after breakfast and much more stable energy levels throughout the morning. The beautiful thing about Margaret's story is that she didn't have to give up oranges entirely. She still enjoyed them every day, just at a different time that worked better with her body's digestive processes. The second fruit that can create challenges when mixed with oatmeal is pineapple. This might be even more surprising because it contains bromelain, an enzyme that's actually supposed to help with protein digestion. Eat pineapple with oatmeal, you're creating a situation where your blood sugar rises quite rapidly, much faster than it would with oatmeal. So why would this be a problem? The issue with pineapple lies in its very high natural sugar content combined with its acidity alone. This rapid spike in blood sugar triggers a strong insulin response from your body. Now, insulin is important for getting nutrients in. Instead, your body becomes focused on managing all that sugar. And protein synthesis, the process of building muscle, gets put on building your cells. But when it's released in large amounts quickly, it can actually interfere with your body's ability to use protein for muscle backburner. Let me break this down further. Pineapple has a glycemic index of around 73, which is considered high. For comparison, apple has a glycemic index of about. When you combine this high glycemic fruit with oatmeal, which itself can raise blood sugar, you're essentially creating a perfect storm to your blood sugar spikes. Here's what happens in your body when blood sugar spikes rapidly. Your pancreas releases a flood of insulin to deal with all that sugar. Insulin is like a traffic director telling your body where to send different nutrients. When there's a lot of insulin present, that prioritizes getting sugar into storage and essentially tells your body to stop focusing on protein synthesis for muscle building. Additionally, the high sugar content of pineapple can cause what we call competitive absorption. This means that the simple sugars from the pineapple are absorbed so quickly that they can interfere with the absorption of other important nutrients, including the amino acids your muscles need. There's also the issue of what happens after that initial sugar rush. When blood sugar spikes, this blood sugar roller coaster is particularly challenging for seniors because our bodies become less efficient at managing these dramatic quickly. It often crashes just as quickly, leaving you feeling tired and hungry again within a couple of hours. Fluctuations as we age. The bromelain in pineapple, while beneficial, can also present challenges when combined with oatmeal. At the same time, the presence of bromelain can interfere with the breakdown of the starches in oats, leading to digestive discomfort. Bromelain works best in an acidic environment, but when mixed with the alkaline components in oats, its effectiveness can be reduced. Some people. I remember working with Robert, a 68-year-old man who loved tropical fruits and had been adding chunks of fresh pineapple to his morning oatmeal. He was frustrated because despite eating what he considered a healthy breakfast and exercising regularly, he felt like his strength training wasn't giving him the results he expected. Robert also mentioned that he often felt great for about an hour after breakfast, but then experienced what he called a mid-morning slump where he felt tired and unfocused. He found and energy dips. When we moved his pineapple consumption to later in the day, away from his protein-rich meals, he began noticing himself reaching for more food or a cup of coffee to get through until lunch, which made him feel like he was constantly battling hunger. Improvements in his workout recovery and overall energy levels. Within about a month, he reported that his morning energy can be just as important as what we eat. Pineapple is a wonderful, nutritious fruit that can absolutely be part of a healthy diet, just not more stable, and he felt like his exercise routine was finally paying off in terms of strength gains. The timing of when we eat certain foods necessarily mixed with your morning oats if your goal is to optimize muscle health. The third fruit I want to discuss might be the most surprising of all, grapes. Grapes are often thought of as a light, healthy addition to breakfast, and many people love adding them to their oatmeal for a burst of sweetness and flavor. The challenge with grapes lies in their extremely high glycemic index. This means that grapes cause your blood sugar to rise very quickly and very high. when you combine high glycemic grapes with oatmeal, which is already, to put this in perspective, grapes have a glycemic index of about 62, and they're also very high in fructose. Fructose is processed differently by your body than other sugars. It goes directly to your liver for processing, which can create additional metabolic stress when consumed carbohydrate source. You're creating what nutritionists call a glycemic in large amounts, especially first thing in the morning when your liver is already working to restore your blood sugar levels after the overnight fast. This rapid and dramatic rise in blood sugar does several things that work against muscle health. First, it triggers a massive insulin response, which, as I mentioned earlier, can interfere with protein synthesis. Second, it can cause inflammation in your digestive system, which makes it harder for your body to absorb nutrients efficiently. But there's another issue with grapes that's particularly relevant for seniors. The high sugar load can cause what we call reactive hypoglycemia. This means that after the initial spike in blood sugar, your levels can crash dramatically, leaving you feeling tired, shaky, and craving more oatmeal. A half cup of grapes contains about 15 dray of sugar. That's nearly 4 teaspoons of sugar. When you add that to oatmeal, sugar, this roller coaster effect is exhausting for your body and can leave you feeling drained rather than energized. What makes this particularly challenging is that many people don't realize how much sugar they're actually consuming when they add grapes to their resistance. Makes it even harder for your muscles to get the nutrients they need, creating a cycle that works against muscle health. And furthermore, when your blood sugar is constantly spiking and crashing, your body becomes less sensitive to insulin over time. This insulin already converts to glucose in your system. You're starting your day with a significant sugar load that your body has to manage. Overall vitality. There's also an interesting connection between blood sugar spikes and inflammation that's particularly relevant for muscle or ages. These compounds can interfere with protein function throughout your body, including the proteins your muscles need for repair, health. When blood sugar rises rapidly, it can trigger the production of inflammatory compounds called advanced glycation end products and maintenance. I worked with Eleanor, a 75-year-old woman who had been adding about half a cup of red grapes to her oatmeal every morning, to me because she was experiencing what she called morning crashes. Feeling good initially after breakfast, but then becoming very tired, something to pick her up, feel better for a while, and then crash again in the afternoon. This pattern was affecting her ability to maintain an unfocused by mid-morning. She also noticed that her afternoon energy levels were inconsistent. Eleanor described feeling like was on an energy roller coaster every day. She would feel energetic right after breakfast, then crash hard by 10 hours in the morning. Exercise routine and was making her feel unreliable and frustrated. When we analyzed her typical breakfast, we discovered that the combination of oatmeal and grapes was providing her with nearly 30 gram of quickly absorbed sugar first thing in the morning. Her body was essentially starting each day in crisis mode, trying to manage this sugar load when we removed the grapes from her oatmeal and instead had her eat a small portion of grapes with some nuts as an afternoon snack. She experienced much more stable energy throughout the 2 weeks. She felt confident enough to resume her regular walking routine, and within a month, she was sleeping better and feeling more day. Her morning clarity improved, and she stopped experiencing those dramatic energy drops that had been concerning her. Within about like herself again, the transformation in Eleanor's energy levels was remarkable, and it came from such a simple change. She still enjoyed grapes regularly, but by pairing them with protein and fat and eating them at a different time of day, she was able to enjoy them without the negative metabolic consequences. The fourth and final fruit I want to discuss is dried fruits, particularly raisins, dried cranberries, provide certain nutrients. However, there are several reasons why they can work against your muscle health goals when combined with oatmeal. First, the drying process concentrates the natural sugars in fruit to extremely high levels. A 4 cup of raisins contains as much sugar dried dates when added to oatmeal. Now, I know that dried fruits are often recommended as healthy additions to breakfast, and they do, as a full cup of fresh grapes, but without the water content that helps slow down absorption. When you add dried fruit to oatmeal, essentially creating a sugar bomb that causes rapid spikes in blood glucose. To give you a concrete example, just 2 tablespoons of raisins contain about 15 g of sugar. That might not sound like much, but it's equivalent to nearly 4 TSPs of table sugar. When you consider that many people add much more than 2 tablespoons to their oatmeal and combine that with the carbohydrates from the oats themselves, can see how quickly the sugar content adds up. Second, many commercially dried fruits contain added sugars and preservatives that can create additional challenges for your digestive system. Dried cranberries, for instance, are naturally quite tart, so manufacturers often add absorption in sensitive individuals. Third, the concentrated nature of dried fruit can lead to overeating without realizing it. Significant amounts of sugar to make them palatable. Some dried fruits are also treated with sulfites to preserve color and extend shelf life, and these chemicals can interfere with nutrients. It's easy to add what seems like a small amount of raisins to your oatmeal, but you might actually be consuming the sugar equivalent of several pieces of fresh fruit without the beneficial fiber and water that whole fruits provide. The dehydration process also changes the fruit in ways that affect how your body processes it. Fresh fruit contains water, which helps slow the absorption of sugars and makes you feel full. Dried fruit lacks this water content, so the sugars are absorbed much more quickly, leading to sharper blood sugar spikes. There's another factor that's particularly important for seniors. Dried fruits are much more calorie dense than fresh fruits. A cup of fresh grapes contains about 60 calories, while a cup of raisins contains nearly 500 calories. This makes it very easy to consume far more calories and sugar than intended, which can contribute to unwanted weight gain, metabolic challenges. The impact on muscle health is similar to what we discussed with grapes. The high sugar load interferes with protein synthesis and can contribute to insulin resistance over time. But with dried fruits, these effects are often magnified because of concentrated nature of the sugars. Additionally, the sticky nature of many dried fruits can cause them to cling to your teeth, potentially contributing to dental problems. While this might seem unrelated to muscle health, oral health issues can actually impact your overall nutrition by making it uncomfortable to eat protein-rich foods or by contributing to systemic inflammation that interferes with nutrient utilization. Now that we've discussed what not to combine with your oatmeal, let's talk about what you should do instead. Remember, the goal isn't to eliminate these fruits from your diet entirely. It's about timing and combinations that support your muscle health and energy levels. First, let's talk about timing. If you love citrus fruits, enjoy them as a snack between meals, at least an hour away from your oatmeal. This gives your digestive system time to process the oatmeal without interference from the fruit acids. Many of my patients find that having an orange or grapefruit as a mid-morning snack actually gives them a nice energy boost and helps satisfy any sweet cravings they might